record. So if you want to start out, just like thank you for joining me again, but just giving people like a brief little synopsis, who you are, how you got to where you're at, and stuff like that.
Oh my God, we only have an hour. I don't know if it's gonna. I'm kidding. Um, hey, I'm excited to be here with you, and I am. My name is Michael Orland, and I am a pianist and a vocal coach and arranger. And I was lucky enough because I do call a lot of it luck. I mean, you have to be skilled too, but I was lucky enough to get on a little show called American Idol back in its heyday when people were really watching it, and I started at the end of season one, and I was on that show for 16 years. And so it got me to work with, I mean, all these incredible people that came out of that show. Number one, plus all the incredible guests and mentors that were on that show. So it was just like, it was unreal what happened. And now I just try to keep, especially during this pandemic, I try to keep my social media presence up there because most of my students that I'm getting are from my Instagram and all that stuff. But I love what I do. I'm blessed to be able to continue working. It was a hard year for all of us, especially those of us in the arts and in music and theater and all that stuff. It took away all of our livelihood, and we had to like do this plan B where we have to like sit in front of a computer with a ring light and a $15 microphone. But I don't even have that. You have that.
I just have a
But
regular
anyway,
old
but
Walmart lamp.
I love it. All right. Well, I do too. So it's okay. But mine's Kmart.
Ah, okay, a little bit better, a little bit better than
Yeah,
Walmart.
yeah, a little bit better. Anyway, but that's basically it. That's who I am. I'm from Massachusetts. Born in Worcester, Massachusetts. As soon as I found out where I was from, I moved. I'm only kidding. I wanted to make you laugh during while you were drinking. And I love my hometown. I love my family. I have the greatest family. I will tell you this: I was not supported to go into the arts when I was younger, and I don't hold it against my parents. I think if I had a kid, I probably would be a nervous wreck about them going into show business, especially today, and where it's even harder than it was when I was doing it. But my parents were like, "You're so good at math and you're good at numbers. You should just be an accountant. And then, when you're after tax season, you'll go sit at the piano and relax." And I was like, so I gave it a try. I went to the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, Massachusetts, and I, as much as I loved high school, and I did, I did not enjoy the college. It was not for me. I didn't like it. I didn't like the dorm life. I didn't like what I was studying. I think it was just that. And I tell people of all ages today, like if you want to do something, you have to just be so passionate about it that not that you don't have a plan B in line, but that you just like you're ready. You're willing to do anything to just follow that dream and that goal, and of like working in the business. And there are a lot of people that are great singers and great pianists and all that stuff, and you have to still have a little job on the side to support your rent, but it doesn't mean you're any less passionate. You have to stay passionate about it because it is a timing game for me. I tell this to people all the time. It's a timing game, and there are crazy reasons why somebody who's maybe even mediocre talented that gets a big break before somebody who's been pounding the pavement forever. It's a timing game, and when it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. But it doesn't happen and last long, which I know that from all the idols that have been through the American Idol doors, unless you have a great work ethic and unless you love what you do. Because anybody that goes into a reality TV competition show is if they don't have that, if you're just in it for to get rich overnight or famous overnight, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't last. It doesn't last unless you have to just be. I'm listen. You don't have to be the best singer. You have to just be passionate about what you do, and it can last for a long time. And you have to have a great work ethic. You have to be willing to put in all the work you need to. Anyway, I probably could keep going on, but I'll wait till you say something that'll trigger another thought. But I'm excited to be here for your listeners and with you. And I love what I do, and I love encouraging everybody to follow their dream. I said, I was not, even though I don't hold it against my parents. I love them, and they couldn't be more supportive today. And even when after I dropped out of school, after the initial shock of it, I did, because I made it through 2 years. I They're fine with it now. I mean, obviously, but I moved to New York before I really knew anybody there, and I had no money. And I was like, I had a friend of mine who I moved there with, this girl, and she had a brother who was like leaving his apartment for a year, and we sublet from him. And it was again, it's like all these who you know, and it's just a matter of being at the right place at the right time, things happening, and it can happen for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. First, I just want to say thank you for your service, because me and my family used to watch American Idol like every night for the first, like, I would say probably up in Philip Phillips, whatever the
Yeah,
season he
yeah.
won. That
I
was
think
like the
that was the
last
last.
one of the last ones we
Yeah.
watched. But yeah, the timing thing is really interesting, because I agree, because I know a ton of people, when I hear them play, I'm like, remember the name, because they are going to be crazy, and then it just, someone else
It
comes
doesn't
up and you're
know,
like,
but I know. But it's a weird phenomenon. But that's what I tell. But if somebody's that talented and that passionate about what they do, it will happen. It's just a matter of when. But so much of it is being out there, and I tell kids all the time. I know social media is a time zap, and it's horrifying. It's important. It's your calling card, especially right
yeah,
now where we're not going out to auditions, or we're not going out to clubs yet, although it's starting to come back. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's what you have to do to
yeah.
be seen, and it really matters.
Do you think that, like, social media as a tool where someone can build kind of a profile that may not exactly be them, but they have this persona online? Do you think that's something that people should do, or do you think they should just keep posting videos of them performing, and them, or should they kind of create this alter?
I I mean, listen. I think that's an interesting question. I mean, I think people should just be posting all the time and tagging people that you've met, and even if they get annoyed by it, like I do master classes all over the place, and I'm like, you guys just tag me when you do something you want me to see. I'll go look at it. But like, that's how you have to do. You have to put your stuff out there. And I also wouldn't say. I also, if you're doing something live, it's okay for it to be some errors and some mistakes. If you're going into the recording studio and you're putting something out there that you've recorded, you have to make it great. You have to. Like, and I know everybody goes in the studio and fixes their vocals and does a little, melodyne or a little, tuning and everything. If I don't care. I still want to hear somebody's great. There are great songs out there, and there are people that just need a little help and they can do it. But as far as like I would put myself out there for who I am right now. And I think those people, like, with the persona, don't that doesn't happen to you. You're Beyonce and Adele, and I don't know. It's a hard question, because I think just put yourself out there and who you are, who you want to be. I tell people all the time who say to me, "I'm so shy. I don't know what to do." I don't like. You can't be shy in this business. You have to walk into an audition or wherever you're going, and or send a self tape in, and fake a little confidence until, because eventually you're going to buy it. I know people don't believe me at all when I work with them or when I talk to them, that I am like the most socially awkward person in the world. I really am. Now I'm sitting behind a piano right now, and when I'm behind my piano, I'm like, have my baby right here, and I'm totally comfortable, and I'm totally I feel confident and all that stuff. If we were at a party talking right now, I would be socially awkward and eating everything on the table, because it's easier to eat than to talk to people, and like all that. Like, it's real, and but you have to fake it, because ultimately you're going to get more and more confidence. I was just talking to a friend of mine on the radio this morning that said, I said, like, we never gave American Idol kids voice lessons. We didn't have time to do that. What we did was we built their confidence, and you could see every week, especially in the heyday of Idol, which was when you were watching it and your family, those kids got more and more confident. They didn't become better singers. They started great singers. They got some skills in performing, and they got more and more confident every week. And that was what made them so great. And when you see Carrie Underwood sing, Alone by Heart, and you could just go, whoa, what was that? Or, you can watch Fantasia sitting on the floor singing, Summertime. You're like, what? like it's those kind of performances, and that was when somebody just got bigger and bigger, just because their confidence built, not because they got any better or whatever. But it's really important today for everybody who wants to be in this music business or the performing business, or if you're an instrumentalist, or if you want to have anything to do with live performing. You gotta be confident. Nobody wants to. It's awkward and uncomfortable to watch somebody who's like so painfully shy, and then they sing. They're like,
Yeah.
I listen. There was a girl on American Idol, Philip season, Jessica Sanchez. She was the quietest, shyest girl, and she came in second place. Today she's full of personality, and she's got whatever. She was 16, I think, on the show. Maybe she auditioned when she was 15. And like you would be off stage with talking to her, and it would be the funniest thing. She would be like, yeah, I'm a little nervous about this week, and then she'd go on stage and like this huge voice would come out of her, and it's like that was a girl, and she said she used to like have an alter ego who she'd perform as, so that she could just turn off that shy and turn off that insecure and just turn on that confident. It's because confidence is so attractive on somebody, not cocky but confident.
Yeah. Yes, there's a big difference between like
There is
having
a
a bit
big,
of the
big
ego.
difference.
I think a lot of that, like the confidence, I think it derives from people being critical on themselves. Like I think as musicians, like more so than any profession, we can be like really hard on ourselves. Just you say, oh, you take a video and you showed your friends sounds perfect to somebody else, but to you, you're like, I missed here. Oh, I missed this, and
Uh-huh.
this is terrible. So I think you know, I, that's interesting. I with how she was very like reserved, and then boom, goes out there and kills
Totally.
it.
But see, I'm all for you just said something that triggered a thought in my head. Like we are hard on ourselves as artists. We are so hard on ourselves. And sometimes you have to give yourself a little break. And sometimes you have to listen to other people's if that you trust saying, no, 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 this is really good. Yeah, there might be a mistake or two, but like nothing has to be that perfect unless you're in the recording studio and putting out a song. You don't want to like go, oh, I should have fixed that one note. You have to. But like to record something live and to show it to somebody and you go, oh my god, I know I messed up here. But this, I tell singers this all the time. I'm like, you don't have to indicate that you messed up, because 9 out of 10 times a judge listening or a person listening or a producer listening will not know you messed up a lyric or a bad note if you don't let them know.
Yeah.
Most of the time that the judges called a kid out on Idol for messing something up is because they made a big deal of it. Otherwise, 9 times out of 10 times, those judges wouldn't have even known. They didn't know what to say. And I love those judges, especially Paula Abdul. She was my favorite. She
Your
is my
favorite?
favorite. Yeah.
I remember I was. This is a little side story. I was on the bus one day, and me and my friends were sitting in the back looking out the window down Main Street where we live, and we saw this guy, and we were like, "This guy has the tightest jeans on in the world." And right as the bus was pulling away, he turns, and it was Steven Tyler, and
No.
He looked right at us, and we were freaking out because I guess I don't know if you're familiar with Gateway, it's on Long Island. You probably have no idea, but it's a performing arts area, and I
Is it
think
a theater? Is it
theater,
Gateway?
yeah, Gateway
I've heard of
Playhouse,
Gateway
maybe.
Playhouse. Yeah, I've
Yes,
heard of Gateway Playhouse.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
sure.
I think he was going there, but it was one of the funniest things, and I remember it was a few years after I stopped watching, but he was my favorite. I thought he was a little.
Well, he's amazing. He was almost to me like a female, like a male Paula Abdul, in that you never knew what was gonna say he was gonna say, or he was just out there and just perfect. And but he loved it. He loved it. That's what was so picked up on. But God, that man is brilliant. That man is brilliant.
Yeah, one of my favorite voices too.
And
I
I
don't
like
even
that
know
he can
how it
wear
is.
tight pants, because I'm probably a little jealous.
You can. All right. Another question. I watched a ton of videos with you on the show, and
Uh-oh.
I listened to interviews. So you say you saw yourself as like the comic relief sometimes to people. Do you think that on the show, like the idea of everyone voting for them, right? Do you think that having someone there was good, or was it that it was weighing so much on them that Americans were voting for them, and oh my God, the judges are voting, and everyone was like they were under a microscope.
100%.
It
But like here's the thing. It's such an interesting concept that people don't really understand about those shows. is that the your the contestant is under a microscope because everybody is making judgment on them, what they sang, what they wore, how they stood, how they sang, who they performed to, if they hit a bad note. Everybody's judging them, from the judges to million. In the heyday of American Idol, 30 million people. Now I don't think they get 5 million, but it's just like that many people were watching you. You can't even imagine the stress that these kids are all under. And I don't care if some of them, fare better than others, but they all felt it. But we could not convince those contestants to go, you're under the microscope for a minute and a half or a minute 45 seconds when you sing your song. These judges are under the same microscope because middle America's going, I can't believe Randy Jackson just said that. Or I can't believe, why would Katy Perry not like that voice? That girl was amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like those there. And so the judges are under the same amount of stress as the kids were. So it's such a weird concept anyway. But we were, believe me, the stress got to these kids every single year. People would lose their voices. Every week, somebody lost their voice because
Yeah, I
nobody
remember.
sings that much in their whole career. And, we had, and also these kids were not, for being a music show, we got the least amount of time with them, rehearsing with them. We had like an hour for one day for them to pick their song. Then we had an hour the next day for them to review their song. And then they were taken away and they were like, they had to go do a video shoot. They had to go shopping for their clothes. They had to meet with the agency. They had to go into iTunes and record their song into the studio. And then on like the day before the show, we had band rehearsal. And then we would get them for another hour or so. And then on the day of the show, there was a camera blocking rehearsal and a dress rehearsal, two in a row. That's all they got. That's all they got. I mean, like you like imagine like somebody learning a song, like when the show used to air on Tuesday nights, a person learns a song sometimes that they've never heard in their lives on a Wednesday and performs it in front of 30 million people 5 to 6 days later. It's unbelievable. And nobody ever does that. But that was the thrill of watching American Idol, and that they could do any song, and that your parents loved all the Motown songs and you loved all the new songs they did, and you learned some of those Motown songs and your parents learned some of those new ones, that you know what I mean. Like it was such a great concept and such a great family show, and people couldn't get enough of it. And it was also when Simon Cowell and his whole thing was in, and very funny and whatever. He
Yeah.
happens to be the nicest, warmest gentleman in the world. And not that that was an act, because as a fellow Libra, someone born on the same day as him, I get what that is. But except he's a couple years older and way richer, just so you know. But I say I was the comic relief to these kids, because these kids would be under such pressure, and even ones that I didn't work with every single week. I would be at all the rehearsals with the kids, like when they were rehearsing with the band. We were all the coaches, all the vocal coaches were there, and we would just help these kids through. And like just if they could, like, how many breakdowns we had in our studio, in our rehearsal room, kids crying, kids losing it. Like that was what we were for them. And it's so fun because I do this Instagram live show now that we're going to talk about. And it's so fun to hear these kids come on. I call them kids. They're much older, but they're
Yeah.
still kids to me. For them to come on and go, we couldn't have made it through without all that, and without that comic relief, and without that, nurturing you were giving us. Like these kids are all my kids. And so when people say, they'll say to me all the time, who is your favorite? It's like when you ask a parent who their favorite kid is. I just don't. I loved them all for different reasons. They go, were any of them like difficult? Not one. The relationship between a pianist and a singer is unlike anything else. And I would never, even when I heard years later that so and so is difficult at the Grammys, they were such a whatever.
Yeah.
And and I'm like, I never experienced that. I never saw that. I've still worked with that person today, and I've never seen that side of them. Just so you never know.
Yeah. Um, okay, I'll move to something different. I have a question about singers. Do you think singers should learn a secondary instrument, like if they're, singing and playing guitar or playing piano to help them in their career?
100%. I will tell you this: the singers that came through the American Idol doors, that could play the piano and like plunk out a melody so they can like learn what they were doing, or play on the guitar and like teach themselves the music, 100% further ahead than the other ones. It also just gives you some technique and some theory and all that stuff. That all
Yeah.
that stuff is so important. Now I know great singers that couldn't play one instrument and not even a kazoo, and like and they're still brilliant. It doesn't matter, but I think that only helps. It only helps. It helps you become a better musician. And I think that when you, and there's so many, people that get on idols too, from all the music colleges and from University of Michigan that has a great theater program, and
Yeah.
from in Boston, they from Berkeley School of Music. A lot of people audition from that show and have been on Idol. And I think that's so important. The people that have that technique go a little bit further, number one. And number two, um, it's all about the work ethic, though. So if somebody even has the work ethic to be working on their singing and learning an instrument, I think it's huge. I think it's huge. And I think it will only help. But then there are those people that say, oh, I play guitar, and they have to look at their hands they can't
Yep.
sing and play guitar without looking down the whole time, so they're seeing what their hands are going on to change the chords. And I'm like, then you shouldn't play. You should
Yeah.
not play, not on TV. You should keep learning, but until you can. And like people that would, if we did if I did it's horrible. Don't say you
Yeah.
play piano if you have to look at your fingers like that much. Like you have to go. You know what I mean? Or you can go. I'm just kidding. That was my little circus trick.
That's funny. Yeah, I know of a ton of people who do that kind of just, you know, they'll look or they'll hold it out and then they'll wait like 5 seconds and then switch to the next chord once they get
Yeah.
everything lined up. Yeah, I know a couple people too. I feel like most vocalists and singers tend to gravitate towards like the guitar, piano, for that. But I've known of a couple who actually like play saxophone and sing, or
I
play
love
like
that.
flute. And I think that's it's strange. This one artist in particular I know, Braxton Cook. This is such a flex when I see him do this. He'll play saxophone, then he'll sing, and then he'll take a solo on saxophone. I'm like, dude, that is it. It
That's
seems
amazing.
insanely marketable, and it seems just like the understanding of music is like off the charts with that.
Right. No, I
But
love that. I love seeing stuff like that. And that's novel, and that's something that would, that would go. I mean, again, it's a timing game, and it's a crapshoot of when it's going to happen. But, it's so interesting because there are a lot of people that are really talented singers that don't want to go through Idol or The Voice or the America's Got Talent. They just don't want to experience that kind of thing. And I remember even like when Philip Phillips was a contestant on The Voice. I mean, I'm sorry, on Idol. They kept saying, you can play an original song, and he's like, I'm good, thank you. He didn't want to, number one, because he didn't. You had to cut songs to, he didn't want to have it, the song shredded and cut up, a minute and
yeah,
45 seconds when he's got this great song that he loves. And he also knew as an artist that he wanted to save those things. And I respect him for that. And today, a lot more people do original songs on the show. I mean, I haven't watched in a couple seasons, but I know people do some original songs, and I think it's great. And if you can get that exposure, it's so great. People ask me all the time, should I audition for American Idol? Yes, you should. Or should I audition for The Voice? Yes, you should. Those shows they're very manipulated in a good way. They have to be, because people are the executives are dying for ratings because nobody watches TV like they used to.
yeah,
Everyone, and nobody wants to wait a week for results of who gets voted off. That's why they have to do it all on the same night now, and people are just used to binge watching TV. They want to just watch a whole series in one night and go, oh, is that who won? You know what I mean? It's like people don't have the thing like they used to when we were on, and everyone was like Tuesday and Wednesday at 8 o'clock. With you needed to be at the TV. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it just
You don't want to go
changed. It's
back to
changed.
that. Yeah, that
No, I don't think anybody wants to. And and it's why I think a lot of those shows, all of them, not just Idol, but all of them look for ways to manipulate the people and for them to tune in, and they get certain people on as contestants for people to watch for, like, the shock value or whatever it is. And again, it's not just Idol, it's every single one of those shows, because they need a reason to tune in. You know what I mean? It's just like we're not watching TV like we used to. But I think still, if you got on TV, if you got on Idol and audition for the judges, and you make it through even one day in Hollywood Week, if you can get a little bit of exposure, that's what it's all about today. That's what it's all about. I know people
Yeah.
that didn't even go far, that turned their social media around, and because they had 500,000 views on their American Idol audition. It's like, who can get that? You have to work 10 years in a small club to, be out there.
I have a friend of mine from high school, a family friend. She was on season 30, and I think she got a
Um,
cut, maybe American Idol, and I think
Season what season?
30, I think, or
30. There's only been 19.
19. Then one of the latest ones. I don't know.
Okay.
Not this previous one, like a year ago.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know why I said 30, and
I like that you said 30.
she yeah, I think she
I don't
got.
think I'll make it that far, by the way, but it's cute that you thought it.
Maybe they'll get there. They gotta change it for Netflix or something. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she got, I think, a couple 100,000, maybe a couple million views on her audition video. She has like 10,000 Instagram followers. It's really starting to help her
Really?
take off, and it I think a lot of people, like it goes hand in hand. You have the exposure on the TV show, and now you have, type in their name on Instagram, boom, they're right here. This is what they're working on. This is what they're doing. I can follow them. I can go to Spotify, Apple, and all their stuff is right there. And I think a
Yep,
lot of it too.
absolutely.
They're interacting with fans. It feels it's a little weird. You could say, hey, watched this person on TV, and now I'm talking to them. Like it's
No, I know it's incredible. It's the power of that, of just being seen like that. It's just like it's unreal. But it's so important for like people to engage with their fans, or whatever they call it. I don't know if they're fans, like when they've been on the show twice, but you have to engage those people, because I mean, I think, to me, I don't know anything else, but the American Idol fans are unlike any other fan group I've ever seen. And I work with a lot of famous people who have amazing fan groups, and I love that. But the American Idol people, they grab onto someone and they stay with them. And this is
yeah,
like years later. Like, the Adam Lambert fans are the most amazing people in the world. They
yeah,
have been with him since season 8. That was 11 years ago. And they still love him, and they love who he is, and they love what he does, and they love everything about him. And I interact with a lot of them, and I follow a lot of them, and I love all their posts, and they repost old stuff of us. But those people are unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And they still with him. Like, and it's just, I love that so much. And I think it's because he also engages them all the time. You have to give them content. You can't just disappear for 6 months at a time, even though sometimes I know people want to.
yeah,
um it's important. It's our only way to, like, reach those people and keep doing it. And you release a song, and every one of those people are going to download it and play it and share it, and it's everything.
yeah, yeah. Um, okay, I have a question now about, as an accompanist too. This is a
Yeah.
question that I always bring up. Is there anything that when you're working with a performer, that they might be doing that they don't know is annoying, but to you, you're like, it's so obvious. Like, please stop doing this.
Like, I'm trying to think of, like, what kind of bad habit. There are people like that close their eyes a lot. That's really horrible to me. There are people that eat the microphone. Like, I'm like, people that work in, like, in bars and karaoke machines and in karaoke places are not used to great sound. When you're on TV, they have amazing sound people, and you don't have to eat the microphone like this. Like, you can't understand anything. And we also want to see your face. And people that my favorite is, I'm not kidding. We had I used to do all the auditions on American Idol, and I would go to all the little towns, and I mean the big towns, and there would be like 10,000 people we'd see in one day, and in the earlier days even more. But somebody came up to my table, and they literally went, I'm just gonna like play the piano with it right now, so you don't have to hear my horrible voice. But they were like, "Look into my eyes." I mean, they actually sang "Look into my eyes" with their eyes closed, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So it's just like, so like people don't even know they're doing that. That's why a big tool for everybody is to like film yourself on your smartphone and watch it
Yeah.
back. We sometimes we develop such horrible bad habits that we don't even know we're doing. But yes, I have worked with people who do things. Listen, I don't care how many, if you can belt a high E, if you're a girl and you have a 3 octave range or a 4 octave range, don't care. I need you to make me feel something when you sing. So you can have a 5 note range, but if I can get goosebumps when you tell me a story in music and when you're singing something to me, don't care. That's just as big to me. I used to probably be, I think I was a little different when I was your age. And I would go, oh my God, listen to that girl who just belted that freaking high E flat. That was crazy. Today, I'm more about I want to feel something. When you sing, I need you to sing to somebody and about something and have a story going on in your head while you're singing so that I'm going to have my own story. I'm not going to know what you're singing about, but I'm going to feel something because you are. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like there are a lot of habits like that where it's just and I love teaching people those things, and that's why I do mostly all home vocal coaching. I mean, right now it's all online and Zoom. I'm just having people starting to come in now that I'm double vaccinated. Thank you. Anyway, but you know, it's so like that's part of what I teach, and I'm like, that's what you have to learn. You have to learn. You have to sit, especially when you audition for American Idol and The Voice and America's Got Talent or whatever it is. Except unless you're doing Masked Singer, you have to like play to the camera. It's all about playing so that people at home like you're looking right at them. And so that's stuff we teach those kids when they come on Idol because a lot of them never knew that, and a lot of them never had any singing experience. They never had anything besides singing at a karaoke bar or at church. That's it.
I remember a lot of the stories where I've never sung in front of anyone in my life, and then it's like they get up in front of millions of people, and then they start singing. But
Yeah,
actually,
look at Jennifer Hudson. I mean, she was like insane.
yeah,
I mean, she had a little bit of experience working on a Disney cruise ship, I think, but she was a church girl. That's all. She grew up singing in the church, and that girl opens her mouth, and it's just like what? And I mean, and it's just effortless, and it just comes from her soul. I mean, it comes from inside. You can't make that stuff up. You can't get goosebumps like that from anything else fake.
yeah. So speaking of cruise ships, I want to take it back a little bit. So you, after you were in New York City, you then started working on a cruise ship, playing,
Well,
correct?
I actually just like I played for I have a dear friend. Her name is Celeste Simone. She's an amazing voice teacher that I send so many people to because she is still one of the all-time greats and she's still one of my closest friends. She was high. She before she was a teacher only, she used to be a performer too, and she just lost the drive to perform anymore. And
Yeah.
she loves teaching and she gets so much out of it. So she wanted to stop the performing, and but before she did stop, I traveled with her a lot and we did a lot of shows, and one of the shows was on a cruise ship where I met this guy who was a we were his opening act, and he came up to me. His name, if you're not over 50, you don't know who he is. His name was Waylon Flowers and Madam. Waylon Flowers, and he had an old lady puppet named Madam, and he was big on this show called Hollywood Squares, and he had been all over. He had like his own sitcom. Um, and he came up to me and he said, I think you should be moving to LA because you are amazing, and I will pay for you to move to LA if you want to be my conductor and my pianist. So that's how that happened. But I was not working on a cruise ship. I just was working on a cruise ship for that one week. So I not that there's anything against a cruise ship job. I would do one tomorrow if the money was good. But and it's great. Listen, that's the greatest learning. That's like going to do summer theater. It's like going to do a musical, or you with a group of people for 12 weeks, and you get so much experience. You learn so much from that.
Yeah. That's it's really cool too that's how, like you mentioned earlier, it's like just it just happens. You meet the right person
It
and then
happened.
boom.
I was in the right place at the right time. Now, do I think you have to have talent to when you're there? Yes, I do. You don't. It just can't come. It just can't be something you don't work on. And it does happen for those people. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I don't think you can sustain that kind of, long career. I mean, mine, I was just in the right place at the right time so many times, including from when I first moved to New York and I was, temping as I typed, because I play piano, I typed like 93 words a minute when I was, when I moved to New York. And I got a job working at like in an office as a temp job. Like, so and I did it for like 3 months. And then I literally was at a piano bar and they were like, oh, the pianist didn't show up tonight. You want to come and play? And like, that was it. And it was my first night in the piano bar. And I started working 6 nights a week in piano bars, like by these two guys that owned a bunch of piano bars in New York City. And it was the greatest, learning tool I could have ever asked for, you
Yeah.
know?
So clearly you've had such an amazing career. You've been super busy. You have to have a certain time efficient way you practice over the year. Like you must have developed one. Do you have like a way where you now can just get everything done in a timely manner?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not as good about practicing as I probably should be or that I used to
Yeah,
be. When
me
I
too.
when I was a when I was a when I was young and taking lessons, I started taking piano lessons when I was 4. My that's my mother and father both tell me like they had to like take me away from the piano to get my homework done. I loved practicing, and it was just I was so into it. Um, More of what I do now because I don't really play solo piano. I play for singers. So a lot of the time I'm like working with a singer and I'm learning their song as we are rehearsing it. And sometimes I have to go, okay, I need 5 minutes. I gotta look at this. If it's something like difficult or hard or whatever. I work with this amazing singer, Kristen, who won a Tony Award and an Emmy Award, and she's all kinds of unbelievable. And so sometimes she'll put a song in front of me and she sings everything from classical to church music to gospel to country to pop to musical theater to up tempos to ballads to comedy to everything. And sometimes I have to go, okay, Kristen, I need 5 minutes. Let me just look at this. I find a lot of singers that will go, you don't have to play every single note there. Just follow what I'm doing. And I think that's like my forte is that like I listen to people, and that's my forte as an accompanist is like listening to people. And like if you're a guitar player and you play for a singer, it's all about just listening and following somebody. And it's not how you would play your song by yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I probably should be practicing a little more. And listen, somebody will send me a song and say, I got to record this song next week. This is it. And I'll look at it and go, oh my God, I got to practice this before we go into the studio. And I do, and I'm good with it. Although I'm a big procrastinator, I will admit. Look, I'm admitting this on your podcast. This is like breaking news.
Yeah.
Like if I have to record something tomorrow, I'm gonna learn it. I'm gonna set my alarm to get up an hour earlier and do it then, instead of doing it today when I have an hour break later.
No, I'll admit it too. I could be practicing more. I think my professor might listen to a few of these episodes. So if Dr. Grev hears this, I'm sorry. But
Oh, doctor, give me the news.
so I have kind of a pressing question. Is because you mentioned you spent 2 years at UMass and you didn't get a music degree, but there are people who pursue music degrees. Do you think because you're successful without one, do you think that it's necessary to go through the 4 years and then go to the graduate school to get into the business, or do you think that it you can go around it and not have to get one?
I think that it's both. I would never encourage anybody to drop out of school. If you are being supported and you have a family that support you to go to school for music, I'm jealous, and I think that you should do it. Again, it's so much of who you know and who you meet, and the person that you know in college is going to call you up after you're done and go, "Oh my God, I just got this great gig. I want you to come on board with me." Do you know what I mean? Like that stuff is all amazing. When I dropped out of school from being an accounting major, I and my parents were devastated. I promised them if I ever didn't get a job because I don't have a degree, that I would go back to school, and I was lucky that it didn't happen. However, so I am I sorry I didn't study music. I should have done what I wanted and gone to music school, and I didn't because I was a good boy. And You know, I mean, like I sometimes regret a lot of things that I probably would have learned in school. I had to teach myself how to do, like conducting and writing out charts, and that I would have learned if had I gone to school for music. So I don't think it will hurt anybody, and it's not going to do any. It's not going to do anything. Listen, you go to school during the the school year, and then on the summers, get a job in a bar, get a job in a club, or set up an online show every week. You know what I mean? Like whatever you have to do, but I think the college degree is helpful, and just for the what you learn in college that I miss, that I was all self-taught.
Yeah, I know it's strange. It's become, I think, a conversation over the past few years that, is college worth it? Is it that? And like you mentioned, the connections that you make, like it's already. I'm only in my second year here, and it's already things have already happened where I'm like, hey, I used to say hello to this person every day walking down the hallway, and then they're like, hey, I need someone to help me with this. Do you want to come play with me? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
all.
the best.
That's all it
All right,
takes.
but wait, I want to hear about what kind of stuff you do musically.
Yeah.
What do you?
I don't want to. I don't want to. Don't don't be. Don't get too jealous. But I'm a classical saxophone player, so it's
Yeah, I love
no,
that.
it's I do a lot of classical saxophone, and then I've been trying to get into the jazz, a little bit. It's hard doing jazz. I'm not someone who can process everything moving so fast. All the changes, and I'm good at
Right.
playing jazz, but improving and soloing, I'm getting there. But yeah,
It,
I
no,
do.
it's a different, a whole different beast. I'm the same way with like if I had play. I like I work with the most beautiful girl in the world, Catherine McPhee, and well before she married David Foster, she needed me. Now she doesn't because she has him. He's like the biggest in the field. And but we did a show in New York at this gorgeous hotel, and I'm blanking on the name of it. Like it's a very famous club there, and we at the Carlisle, and
Yes.
we she released a whole jazz album, and she was like, I want you to come play for me, and I was like, I'm such a fake jazz guy, but nobody really knew it. But I understand that. Like I literally, this is how much I had to practice. Like I listened to her album, which I did not work on, and I like wrote out some of those riffs that her genius piano player who did the album, I forgot his name, did. And so I could like learn how to do that. I'm not one of those improv people either. I'm like, if someone just gives me, I can read chord charts, but if you say now here, take a solo here, I'm like,
Yeah.
why? I don't want to do a solo. You're the soloist.
Yeah.
But no, I get it. But at some point, I think for you, it's also about letting go and just like doing it. And so what if you hit some bad notes or whatever? Like just do it and try it.
Yeah, that's something that I've been working a lot on this semester. Is kind of just, like there's a point where I think I used to care a lot about what everyone was saying, like, oh, what's so and so going to think when I play. But now it's kind of just like I really could care less what they say. I'm
I
just
know.
gonna.
You know what? That's what you have to do. You have to really give up, and it's so freeing when you do like get to do that, and you know what I mean. Like it's worth it. It's just, but you literally have to go. You have to stop judging. I
Yeah,
think what we were talking about earlier, like we judge us. We're so hard on ourselves, and you
yeah,
have to like not. You have to
I,
just go. I'm gonna freaking try it.
yeah. I think taking a step back and like reflecting on like every as how far you can. I remember watching videos from high school, and just like when I was in high school, I was like, oh man, I'm sounding really good. But listening to it now, I'm like, what was I doing? That was like
Not funny.
crazy. But
But it's also because you grow as an artist and a performer, and
yeah,
your technique, grows and stuff. And so I get it, but it's so great to go back and listen and go, wow,
it
look at
is.
how far I've come.
It is, especially in the days where like I'm in the practice room and I'm losing my mind because I can't play something. And I go back and I'm like, oh man, here I am playing with my high school band and all my friends. It feels good. But I think one thing too that I say this a lot to my friends when you get into like the performing mode like at school, you're getting better gradually, like linearly, but your expectations are
Uh-huh.
growing exponentially. So yes, you're getting
Yep.
better, but where you want to be is growing at a faster rate than how you can actually
Absolutely.
get better. So I think that's where a lot of like the you know what's the word I'm looking for, where a lot of the stress comes from, where you're like, I'm not getting any better, I'm not doing this. But
Yeah,
Other
but
than
no,
that, yeah,
it's all self afflicted. I mean, like we do it to ourselves.
I
I get it.
unfortunately, it's
I
just
get it.
it's just music. But I'm music education and music business double major. So I started this podcast too a month or two ago. I don't even know, but I did it for both degrees because I was like, hey, this is going to help me a little bit with the business aspect of it, which it has been a lot. But I started it more for the ed because I was like, hey, I only really know saxophone and education. Like, I want to talk to people who do other things. That way, when I
That's
become a
great.
teacher, I have different knowledge. But it's become more of a business tool because I already have, I talked to previous guests and they helped me line up an internship already. And I'm like, hey, it's been
Oh my God, that's the
doing this
best.
for a month and it's already coming. They're like, oh, I know so and so and so and so. And I remember I reached out to a bunch of people, and a lot of people didn't respond. Like as if Travis Scott or you know Billie Eilish were going to respond to my DM. Like,
Right,
hey,
right,
Andy texted
right.
me. Like, no, they're not gonna. But they're like, oh, you know so and so. Yeah, he's one of my good friends. I'm gonna text him right now and put him on the spot. Like, why didn't you respond? And
I
it's
love
pretty
it.
crazy.
No, again, this business is all who you know and who you meet, and it's all about networking. It really is. And then this is the other thing is that then you have to be a good guy and somebody fun. That somebody like when singers walk into an audition, or even when if you were going to audition for a band or something, as you know, as a saxophone player, it's like they got to know when you walk in that room before you even pick up your saxophone that you're going to be a fun hang, that you guys are going to be on the road for the next 9 months together. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like that
yeah.
is part of.
Well,
I
there's a
think that's gotten me through a lot of jobs, even more than being the best piano player. Is that people like have fun. We have fun when we work.
there's a ton of people who I've encountered where phenomenal players, they can get, say, I want you to play something like this. Boom, they can play it. But
Yeah,
as a person, not easy to work with, just not a good person. And you have to wait, say, yes, they're amazing, but there's this side to them. So
yeah.
I don't know if I think just being a good person, which at least I hope I am to other people. I think I come across as someone who's
Seem like a good
easy
guy.
to work with.
So I'll vouch for you if you ever need
Okay, I'll let
a
I'll let everybody know. I'll say you may not like me, but
totally.
um, yeah, the business is such. I'm finding it more and more. It's because I'm just getting my feet wet in it. I'm still a student, and
Yeah,
it's it's like the iceberg. You see the tip of it, and now it's like, oh my god, there's so much that goes into it.
I know it doesn't feel like you can get over it. But you know what? You're doing all the right things, and that's you have to just know that. Again, you have to just keep that passion. I mean, you obviously love it what you're
Oh
doing,
yeah, or else I wouldn't do it.
and
Yeah,
it's yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is that like we're sitting at a you're sitting in a practice room practicing your saxophone. We're not sitting at a in a bank boardroom going what's the interest going to be next week. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's like those are like people that have stressful jobs. Like it's like this is like joy and love and everything we love doing, and you make people happy when you do stuff like
yeah.
that. And it's just like
I
it's
agree.
everything.
Well, when I
Yeah.
applied to schools, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I did 3 schools for music. I did 3 schools for pre med. My parents, like you said, my parents were kind of pushing me. They're probably gonna get mad if they hear this, but they were pushing me to go into become a
And
doctor.
I don't
I don't
blame them.
I don't
I don't
blame him
blame them.
either. But and then
What kind of doctor do they want you to be?
I'm a diabetic, so I was gonna become an endocrinologist. So it's
Okay.
basically like a doctor that deals with like diabetes and other hormone and
Sure.
immune
Yeah,
disorders.
yeah.
But and then I was like, I really don't know because I could see myself doing both, but I could see myself enjoying my life in music. And then unfortunately for me, not unfortunately, I got a full ride to 2 schools, and for the pre med, my parents you know like the cartoon character, like dollar sign eyes, like boing, like they were like, yes, okay, like that is great. And
Yeah.
then I was
That's
like,
amazing.
I can't. I don't think I'm going to. I'm not going to enjoy my life. I think music is something that there's so much that offers. And this is the thing too is what gets me a little bit annoyed with some institutions is that they don't show you what's out there. Like there's you kind of like it, you find out like, hey, this person can do this. How do they do this? What there's
Yep.
all
Yep.
these like these boxes that you're supposed to check off. How come they can do that? And I'm finding that out now, and yeah, it's all
So wait, you're in your second year. You're only in your second year.
yeah. It's my second year, so
Yeah,
I
you're gonna be fine. And again, like you networking with all these people that you're having on your show is gonna be everything for you. You're gonna have make all these connections with all these people, and
yeah
it's gonna be great. Like you already said, you already got an intern job. I mean, like you're set.
yeah I'm hoping so. And it's become a pretty good tool for me. And like when I started this, I really didn't have like super high expectations. Obviously, like when I was like, okay, I'll take like second or third on the iTunes charts. Like that's, but in reality, I was like, what I wanted to be was just bring out a bunch of different people, cool people.
Yep.
I'm not going to bring someone on who's going to be like, yeah, whatever, one word responses. Like, I want to have a conversation. I want because
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's fantastic. I think
I
it's fantastic.
I don't think people in the music world realize too. I think a lot of people do, but sometimes they don't realize how much we have in common because like you said, like we have this passion that we can go and pursue, and people have to go get those jobs where they're like, oh, I gotta go to the bank, or I gotta go here. It's like
Yeah.
we can, that's a little got a little
No,
off
listen,
topic there.
and again, like I know so many talented singers and musicians who aren't, especially right now, because all the performing stopped for us. They're not even working a lot right now, but it doesn't make them any less passionate about it, and it doesn't matter. And you know what I mean? Like you still have to keep that passion, and just know, like right now is a funky time for all of us, but it will turn around. It will turn around.
Yeah, I agree. Soon, fingers
I think
crossed.
so too.
Knock on wood. But you've
But
worked with
I'm
is
knocking
it
on my piano.
the Steinway? Do you have a Steinway?
No,
The Goodwood?
well, where there's a Stein will, there's a Stein way. But
Yeah.
I have like a mom and pop brand that this
Yeah.
was my mother's piano that she got for her ninth birthday, and it was at my grandmother's house all the time. And I played it when I was a kid. And when I moved into this house, I had already lived in LA for quite a while, but my grandmother was getting ready to sell her house and move into a condo. And she said, I want to send you the piano because you always loved it. And so this is in my house now. She FedExed it to me, and she had the whole insides taken out and redone. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's not the greatest, but it has such sentimental value to me.
Exactly.
I would never
Yeah.
get another one. I would
Oh,
never get rid of it. I hope I have a living room one day that I can put like a really great piano and this one in it together, because I would
yeah.
never ever get rid of this piano.
I same thing too. Like the first saxophone I started on, I think I got it for like $100. I'm not gonna get rid of it because it's the first one I started on. It's like there's something to it where you're like, oh, you can't
Did
let
you get
go.
it from Kenny G? I'm kidding.
No, he was busy that day. I got it now. But yeah,
That's fine.
you have like I looked at you've worked with a ton of people that I think a lot of my listeners and me especially admire. If I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you could just name a couple.
Oh my God! Don't you want to read them? I'm kidding. No, here's the thing. Again, first of all, I met so many people as a result of being a coach on American Idol, because like I would play all the auditions. I mean, I play all the auditions, plus I play all the rehearsals for all the kids. And so like when there was a guest mentor on, like if you can look up season 3 when Elton John was a guest, and it's me sitting next to him at his red grand piano. I mean, I had to change my underwear twice that day. And I mean, like I couldn't believe it. This is Elton John and Barry Manilow and Billy Joel were my like idols growing up. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
I'm sitting here playing piano, and Elton John is sitting on the bench next to me. I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's not even like a separate bench. He's on the bench with me. And and Stevie Wonder and all these people that I got to work with as a result of being there. But I have traveled a lot with lots of amazing singers. I mean, so many. And I've been doing a lot of stuff recently with this amazing Kristen Chenoweth, and before with Catherine McPhee, and all these great people. And I love everybody that I work with. And I've just been blessed, and again, so much in the right place at the right time. Or people go, oh, I know that guy from American Idol, he's really good, and here's his number. And like I've worked with so many people because of that, and like where somebody's like recommended me because they knew me from Idol. And
yeah,
so I mean, like, but I've worked with everybody from like Broadway royalty to theater and to film and television royalty, and people like Kristen Bell, who's like an incredible actress, singer. Not many people know she did theater before, but I mean, I worked on a big movie with her and Kelsey Grammer that they had to do a musical number in, and I like put the whole number together for them, and that was like a thrill. And but just I mean, there's so many I can't even really think. I have to like look at my bio later. But here's the thing. I know how blessed I am. I know, and I mean, like literally, like, we all had a horrible 2020 compared to like
Oh yeah.
2019, and including me. And so many people are like, I've lowered my rates for my students because parents and families are just having a hard time right now, and I get it. And it shouldn't be a reason somebody wants to stop being, pursuing their passion. And so I did that. I've been lowered for over a year now, and I don't have any intention of raising it back until everybody's vaccinated, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
That's awesome.
it's pretty great. I feel so blessed, and I'm so, listen, you guys, it's also, for all your listeners, it's so about having, just gratitude for everything that's gone down. Like, I am so thankful every day. I am so thankful every day just for God putting me in the right place at the right time, and just like for all that happening. And it's like, that's even how I got Idol, just because somebody who knew me from working with Barry Manilow called me in to help with Idol one day, and I didn't leave for 16 years. Do you know what I mean? It's like just stuff like that. So
I'm a huge Stevie Wonder fan too. That's awesome.
oh
It's
my
like
God, he's ridiculous.
he is phenomenal. He could play like any instrument. The arpeggi. Saw him do that. I think at one of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions. Stevie Wonder. I love Elton John too. That's crazy. It's like the degrees of separation. I know someone who now knows.
I mean, but it's so funny because people have put some of the clips from I like when Jennifer Hudson was singing, and she was doing "Can You Feel the Love Tonight," I think, and he was just like going crazy. Oh no, she was doing "Circle of Life," "Circle of Life," and like people were going crazy. I mean, he was going crazy. He was like, "What just happened?" Like and that was like to watch those people, and Tony Bennett, and like all those people that came on as guest mentors, and Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees, and like it's like all these, Jennifer Lopez, before she was a judge, she was a mentor, and I was obsessed with her, and just one of the most beautiful women ever. Then I went and got to see her show in Las Vegas, and I was like, what? I was just blown away. But just people like that, and of course, Randy and Paula and Simon, and so many and Steven Tyler, and all those amazing Harry Connick Jr. and so many amazing ones.
Were you a fan of Tony Bennett? Did you like Tony Bennett?
Yeah. Huge fan. I mean, like, I love the Great American Songbook, so I love all those songs and stuff. So, and he kept all those popular. He made that whole genre so popular again to everybody.
I'm also a fan. Could you do me a favor and just vouch for him, because my dad does not like Tony Bennett. I don't know why my dad doesn't like him. Could you please just say a little thing about him?
All right. What's your dad's name?
My dad's name is also Andrew.
No, is it really?
Yeah.
Andrew. Dad Andrew. Tony Bennett left his heart in San Francisco. Hey, Andrew, you know what? Here's the thing. This is for your dad, Andrew. People's music is a personal thing, and I get it. If somebody's not into that, some people aren't into Adele. I think she's brilliant and amazing.
Yeah.
Some people aren't into Bruno Mars. I think he's the greatest male performer out there right now. And it's who is your cup of tea? And so I'm not gonna make him like Tony Bennett. I love that his son, and somebody who's a baby and so young is into him like that. That's amazing. I love when I meet kids who go, "Oh yeah, I want to do that song, the Beatles song," and I'm like, "But you're only 17. How do you know that song?" They grew up with that music. I love that. So your dad doesn't have to love him, but I love that you do, in spite of it.
Yeah, I just want to give him a little. He likes to listen to it, and he always gives me feedback. He's like, "You don't bring me up enough," so I hope you like that one. Hope you like that one, Dad. So yeah, let's move on to what you've been doing now, because you kind of had to, like, I think everyone just completely adapt and evolve what you do because of COVID. So you've been doing every Thursday. It's at 5 o'clock
Yeah, at 5 o'clock West Coast time for the last like I don't know, I've done like so many of them now. I have like somebody from Idol from the past years of Idol come on, and I've had several winners come on, and everybody on that show is a winner to me. Like it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna hopefully soon have Paula Abdul. She said she was gonna do it, and so did Randy Jackson. But yeah, today, well, this isn't gonna air today, so we won't have to say it. But I every Thursday at 5 p.m. West Coast time, and I have adjusted the time. Like Philip Phillips was on, and he was like, "That's why at 7 o'clock. That's when I put my kid to bed. Can we do it a little later?" So we made it like 8 o'clock that day. I was happy to oblige for him, and I've made it later for a little bit. You know, it's so funny. These people like Chris Allen, who won season 8, like he was like, "Can I do it a little later?" That's right when we put the kids to bed, and I'm like, "Yes, you go be a father. We'll do it. We'll do my show at 6 o'clock LA time." But I have a brilliant social media guy that helps me, who I borrowed from Catherine McPhee and Megan Hilty, these two beautiful actresses, singers that I work with. He does all their social media, and he came to me, right, and he said, "Listen, you should be doing." First, he said you should hire me, and I was like, "Oh God, no, I'm kidding." And he said you should be doing like a weekly show, like just like we got to start doing more on your social media. And I was like, and I do these like crazy. They're not crazy, but they're really fun. Tips for Tuesday, it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
Every Tuesday, I do like a little vocal tip for people who are singers and whatever. And I love doing it. It's so fun. But he edits them all and makes them really fun. And on Thursdays, I do this live with Michael Instagram show, and I have all my friends from Idol. It is my dog. Sorry, that was my dog's taken. But she is, yeah, but it's just been so fun. And I just have a different guest on every Thursday. And I did start working at this club. There's a really great club in Palm Springs called Oscars, and they reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, do you want to do like a little open mic night here?" And I was like, not really, because I thought they were going to be like, "Come down and like, work for tips or whatever."
Yeah.
They made me a great deal. I went down there the first night. I'm going to be there the first Thursday of every month, and I did a Instagram live that day with my buddy Colton Dixon, who's such a great guy and so talented. But it was like the internet was going in and out, and when I was in Palm Springs, and I was like, okay, so the first Thursday of every month when I'm doing my shows in Palm Springs, I'm going to not do a live thing. But every other Thursday, I do a live show, and it's so fun. And it's so fun. I hope everybody can tune in and watch. And if they miss it live, I keep it on my on my
Yeah.
feed, so you can watch it afterwards.
Yeah, I checked out a couple of them. I remember you had is it David Cook? He was
Yeah,
a winner? I remember that was pretty controversial because it was him and David Archuleta. Was that the year?
that's right.
I
That's right.
remember. Oh
You're
man,
so
that
fun. They
was.
remember all that. That's so funny.
I don't know. I remember Chris Daughtry too. That was earlier though. That was super
That
early.
was that was Catherine McPhee and Taylor Hicks season that he got voted off fourth. And we had just gone to Memphis, Tennessee. It was Elvis week, and everybody was shocked. That was like going to be Chris Daughtry's week. He was shocked. I mean, but
Yeah.
again, it doesn't. I stopped getting so emotionally involved because I used to be devastated when great people went home early,
Yeah.
and it just went to go show you you didn't have to win. Chris Daughtry still to this day has an amazing career, and
Yeah.
he didn't win. And so does Catherine McPhee. She didn't win. And so does Clay Aiken. He didn't win. So does
I
Adam
remember Clay
Lambert. He
Aiken
didn't
too.
win. Yeah,
Adam
I mean,
Lambert
like,
is now in Queen. Like Adam Lambert is the
he's
lead
the
singer for
lead
Queen.
singer of Queen, and he's like one of the highest grossest paid people in
Yeah.
the show business. And he's so talented and brilliant. And it didn't matter that he came in second. It doesn't matter. So like I go, oh well, Chris Daughtry, you're going to be fine. He
Yeah.
came off fourth from the end, and he
Yeah.
is amazing and amazing guitar player, amazing singer, amazing songwriter, has an amazing band. So
Yeah. Those were the good days. My dad liked Chris Daughtry too. He didn't like Tony Bennett, but he liked Chris.
I love that. He has good taste, that's for sure. I
Yeah.
love because Chris Daughtry is just a freaking great guy.
Yeah. A question that my mom always has me ask my guests towards the end is there anyone that you think that that would be beneficial to come on for me to speak to?
I will find. I will get you some
Get
people
back to
that you
me.
can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I will really do. Yeah, you should definitely have some other. I think it's so great that you meet people from all aspects of the music industry.
Yeah.
It's so great. Maybe to have like even like a music attorney on or something
Yeah.
like something like that. It'd be really fun, for you to get involved with that kind of thing, or somebody who plays a different instrument. Um, but I think it's so great or you should get like a great saxophone player that you love that you
Oh, I've
like.
tried. I've tried. They don't
All right,
respond to me.
who's your guy? Who's your go-to like idol
Well,
music?
like a lot of the ones that for jazz that I listen to are dead, unfortunately, because a lot of the old,
Yeah,
they were older. But like my that's still living. I mentioned this guy Braxton Cook, the guy who
oh
would play
yeah, yeah.
saxophone, then sing, then play saxophone. Um, but I have a very wide variety of music that I listen to. I do like a lot of the Motown, like Sam Cooke, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, into I listen to the stuff from today. Not a lot from today, but
Yeah.
and then like the classic rock. Like I listen to the Queen, to Queen. I listen to George Harrison is another big one.
How
I
about
gotta I
Steven
gotta
Tyler? How about a little Aerosmith?
Steven Tyler, a lot of Aerosmith here and there, especially when
A
I'm
lot of
working out.
Aerosmith,
That's when Aerosmith comes in.
even even though he wears jeans that are way too tight.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you could put me in contact with him and I can question him about his fashion
I,
choices, his jeans.
all right, I
The
can
world
do that.
needs to know what's going
I can
on with
try
the
to do
jeans.
that.
But
I'll think of some people for you. We'll definitely be in touch. You have my number now.
yeah,
Just just don't post it. I'm kidding. Unless somebody wants to take a vocal coaching. Listen, most of my students in this whole pandemic have come from me being having a social media presence, and so
yeah,
like so many of my students I get from they can direct message me on Instagram, and I hope your listeners will follow me on the Instagram at Michael Orland. But this has been so fun. I'm so happy I got to meet you,
yeah.
Andy. And that I forgot how we met.
I think one of my friends
Oh yeah,
followed you, and then my friend
yeah,
Chris.
and said, hey, my buddy does a thing, and I'm like, all right, so
Yeah,
let's go meet him. This has been so fun. I love
I'm
it. I'm
glad.
so
Yeah,
happy for you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it too. It's cool because like every Thursday you said you're the one who's doing the interviewing, and now it's like kind of. But there was a
Exactly,
couple questions back
exactly.
and forth. It was an interview, two interviewers.
Hey, like here's the thing. You know this about being an interviewer. You have to be a good listener, but it's not all about me in this thing. It's like I want to know
Yeah,
about you, and also you have to like let a little bit of you in, so your listeners are gonna go, oh, I want to tune in again and see
yeah.
how he was so great.
Well, that's a
I
problem.
hate when
That yeah.
I have people that go, wow, you're so good at the interviewing thing. You don't Have you ever thought about doing only that? And I'm like, no, I like piano too.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Um,
Anyway,
that was a problem too that I was thinking about because a lot of the people at first that were listening were friends from school, and then I started doing other people. And now it's like I'm getting people who don't know me, and it's like, oh, they don't know anything about me. So I think I'm gonna have to figure something out and you know,
oh yeah,
hopefully gaining some traction soon. I'm getting there. The plays are going up, but
good. You got to do it, and you got to let me know when it's going to be on, and I'll post it on
every
my
yeah
social media.
I upload every Sunday, normally in the morning. What I normally do is I post it on the account and then I'll repost it on my Instagram. And then I'll probably tag you, so
Or,
pop it
oh,
there. But
definitely tag me.
do
Definitely
you
tag me.
do you have any parting words for the listeners out there? Any advice?
I want to say, even in this pandemic we're all living in, don't get discouraged about what you do and the effects that it's having on all of us, because I know we are going to get back to it. And especially of all of us in the music and the arts and instrument that, play instruments and do all that stuff and depend on live performing and all that, stay passionate about it. Even if you have to take something else up. I know a talented dancer guy that I was working with, and he got his real estate license, and it's like that doesn't mean you have to do real estate forever, but it means he can make some money right now while he's waiting for film and TV to come back in. It's just like, don't forget how much you love to do it, and just this never, you can't learn enough. Like you said, like a singer that learns to play an instrument, or a singer that needs to know every style. Like you should know some country music, you should know some pop stuff, you should know some great American songbook, and it's all some Motown. It's all, the more you learn. And but just I want to encourage everybody to stay encouraged and positive, because I really feel like for the first time, like in over a year, that we're coming out of this, and that we can, we have to all be diligent about the masks and the hugging and the
Yeah,
staying
this and
far
that.
away. But it's still gonna get better. It's gonna get better. People are doing live shows again. I'm so excited.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We're getting there slowly,
Yeah.
but all right.
Anyway, but Andy, it's so great to meet you, for crying out loud. And one day I'll have to meet your dad, and I'll play him a
Yeah,
big medley. Play him a medley of Tony Bennett songs.
yeah. Only Tony Bennett though. Nothing else.
What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Janet.
I was gonna guess that.
She is, yeah. It's she is a
I'm
pretty big
not.
like Britney Spears fan. She likes, and the Eagles. She likes the Eagles.
Is she?
She's
Well,
more.
see, you grew up with all that.
I grew up with a ton of different music. It's just all, yeah, wide variety. And then I kind of, then I found what I liked too. I did little,
Right.
listening. You go down the YouTube rabbit hole where you listen to one artist and
Oh
then
yeah.
boom, you hear so and so and you're like,
With something else. Yep. I know.
yeah.
I've done it too. I've done it too.
But yeah, I thank you for coming on.
All right,
And
my pleasure. It's so great to meet you, and thank you for having me on your podcast. And I can't wait to watch it back.